Authorities nabbed 10 suspected vote buyers in Cavite. COMELEC places Moises Padilla town in Negros Occidental under its control. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority temporarily suspends the dry run on the provincial bus ban on EDSA. And Windsor shoppers still wait for the royal baby announcement with great suspense. Good evening. The Criminal Investigation and Detection Group and the Provincial Intelligence Branch of the Cavite Police arrested 10 individuals in Cavite. Sherwin Kulubong tells us why.
The Philippine National Police Crime Investigation and Detection Group or PNP-CIDG and the Cavite Police Provincial Intelligence Branch received a call from a concerned citizen about an alleged boat buying incident in Barangay Zapote 5, Bacoor City, Cavite last Saturday. According to the report from Cavite PNP, the suspects were giving away brown envelopes that contained 200 pesos each. The authorities acted immediately on the report, which led to the arrest of 10 suspects who were allegedly buying boats. An estimated total of 200,000 pesos was given away by the suspects, according to authorities. The police confiscated cash worth at least 80,000 pesos, a plastic bag containing red wristbands, and a red notebook from the suspects. A plastic bag that contained 2 white t-shirts marked with the names 2 running politicians for governor and vice governor were also seized from the suspects.
Well, may mga politiko pong nakalagay po lang to sa t-shirt. Ang nasa t-shirt po ay t-shirt po ni Remulla at ni Revilla.
The 10 suspects who are now detained at the CIDG Cavite will face charges for violating the Omnibus Election Code of the Philippines or Batas Pambansa bilang 881. Cavite gubernatorial candidate Juanito Victor John Vic Remulla, meanwhile, admitted in a statement posted on his Facebook account, admitted those arrested are his supporters. Remulla explained that the money given was for the allowance of their watchers.
Naklaruin ko lang, no? Allowance yun para sa watchers training namin for the next 3 days. Kasi coming na yung election test, di ba? If you will examine the facts of the case, wala pong sample ballot, wala siya sabi na iboto, ang sabi lang pumunta kayo dito sa lugar na to para sa watcher training.
According to the Commission of Elections Region 4A, the politicians behind the vote buying incident might be disqualified.
Vote buying under the Omnibus Election Code is an election offense. And if there are public officials na nandun and found to be found guilty, they will be perpetually disqualified to hold any public office.
As the final day of election 2019 on May 13 is fast approaching, voters are advised to be vigilant and to vote wisely. Sherwin Kulubong, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Commission on Elections has created a task force to monitor the situation in the municipality of Moises Padilla in Negros Occidental relative to the May elections. Lelaine Moreno explains why.
The Moises Padilla Police Station force in the province of Negros Occidental has been replaced. This after the municipality of Moises Padilla was declared by the Commission on Elections under COMELEC control. The poll body has also formed the Special Task Force Moises Padilla to monitor the situation in the area.
Ensure the safety and security of everybody. So wala po tayong pipiliin. Kailangan po protektahan po natin lahat. Ang trabaho natin ay nataliin ang katahimikan at ang pagiging successful ng ating elections.
According to COMELEC Commissioner Antonio Co, the declaration is based on the recent incidents related to the coming midterm elections.
It is already under the red category sa aming chart, no, sa COMELEC. And this happened. No? What I'm referring to, the incident, the ambush incident, took place April 25, no? It claimed 2 victims, no? So on the basis of that, as well as historical data wherein it is highly may highly partisan electoral activity dito.
COMELEC will also lead the conduct of the polls in the municipality on May 13, 2019. Lelaine Moreno, UNTV News and Rescue, Moises Padilla, Negros Occidental.
The Commission on Elections says the random manual auditing of the election results will proceed, although the National Citizens Movement for Free Elections, or NAMFREL, has backed out from being the poll body citizens' arm. Aiko Miguel reports the reason why.
There is only 1 week left before the midterm elections in the country. All printed official ballots have been distributed to the regional election offices of the Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, in different provinces nationwide. COMELEC is confident that the elections will not be postponed, although some issues are arising. One of these is the rejection of the National Citizens Movement for Free Elections, or NAMFREL, to be the poll body citizens' arm. But COMELEC spokesman James Jimenez clarified that although NAMFREL refused to participate as a citizens' arm for the Random Manual Audit, or RMA, there are other coalitions who are willing to help COMELEC to counter-check the election results manually.
But again, there's been no policy statement on that yet. If the COMELEC goes in the direction of finding a NAMFREL equivalent, then I'm pretty sure that a lot of organizations are willing to step up.
According to Jimenez, NAMFREL rejected the task because the poll body did not approve their request to have an open access to the information of COMELEC, but the poll body explained that this is outside the role of a citizen's arm. Meanwhile, the final testing and sealing of the 85,000 vote counting machines began today. This is to assure that the machines can count correctly all the ballots inserted in them on the day of the elections, and if the election results from the VCM will tally with the results of the manual count.
So far, no reports yet of any untoward findings for the FTS. But then again, it's just the start of the FTS period, so we'll see what happens.
After the final testing and sealing process, the COMELEC will seal and lock the VCMs, which will be opened on the election day. There are 7,000 VCMs which will serve as contingency and will be deployed to provincial election supervisors. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
President Rodrigo Duterte will attend several campaign rallies a few days before the midterm elections, according to Malacanang. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
Aside from the Partido Demokratiko Pilipino Lakas ng Bayan, or PDP Laban campaign rally, President Rodrigo Duterte has been invited to grace the senatorial campaign caravan of the Hugpong ng Pagbabago Party. This after being absent from the public's eye for 5 days last week. President Duterte is back to work with a busy schedule this week. Malacanang says to intensify the support for his endorsed candidates, the chief executive will be attending campaign rallies.
Ang alam ko sa, ano ba kaya? Thursday, meron sa Davao. Malaking rally. Siguro, parang yun yata yung last speech niya for the election season.
The palace, however, refuses to reveal who among the senatorial candidates the president will vote for on May 13.
We will leave it to him. That's a private matter for every individual voter.
Secretary Panelo, meanwhile, added it is important for the president's allies to win the election, so the programs of the administration will be continued.
Every election to a president means something to him, because those who will be elected in the Congress will have to be partners in the administration of the government. Kaya mas magandang yung mga naroon ay yung tutulong sa kanya.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
A Legazpi City Court has ordered the arrest of Daraga Mayor Carlwin Baldo over his alleged involvement in the killing of Ako Bicol Party List Representative Rodel Batocabe and his aide in December 2018. Bicol Police Regional Police Office Director Arnel said they have yet to establish Baldo's whereabouts, but the police are already coordinating with the family to pave for his surrender. Baldo was identified as the alleged mastermind in the killing of Batocabe on December 22 while conducting a gift-giving activity in Daraga in Albay. 6 suspects have already surrendered to the police and admitted having a hand in that crime. On January of 2019, Baldo was arrested for alleged illegal possession of firearms following a raid at his residence. He was, however, allowed to post bail. Daraga has been placed under Commission on Elections or COMELEC control following the Batocabe killing. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA has suspended the dry run of provincial bus ban on EDSA. MMDA clarifies that the implementation of the no loading and unloading policy of provincial buses on EDSA remains to be prohibited. John Nano explains why.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority doesn't want the policy of the provincial bus ban on EDSA to be politicized at this time when politics is too dominant because of the upcoming elections. This was the statement of MMDA General Manager Jojo Garcia, prompting the agency to suspend the dry run of the provincial bus ban on EDSA. According to the MMDA, the dry run is halted pending their meeting with the Department of Transportation or DOTR and the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB. However, the MMDA clarifies the enforcement of the no loading and unloading policy of provincial buses along EDSA is still in effect. The MMDA has also coordinated with the LTFRB for the extension of franchises of city buses up to the interim terminals in Valenzuela City and Santa Rosa, Laguna. The agency admitted that a lot of provincial bus companies are not complying with the dry run since there is a limited number of city buses that will transport passengers to and from the interim terminals.
Kailangan unahin natin yung city bus, no? May dry run o wala, yung city bus natin, they need to extend the line hanggang Santa Rosa and Valenzuela na para kung mag-dry run man ang ating mga provincial buses, pagbaba ng ating mga pasahero, may sasakyan sila.
Although there are some groups and lawmakers opposing the transfer of provincial buses to the designated interim terminals, the MMDA is determined to proceed with the implementation of the provincial bus ban since the Metro Manila mayors and the DOTR officials are in support of the measure.
We need to push through with this. So far, the dry run will push through. The cutting of the lines and extension of the lines will be done by LTFRB. So everything will be in place, and we will all agree that this will be a smooth run, then we will push through with it if the TRO will not be against us.
Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The baby wait goes on for Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, and the royal watchers around the world. Jovic Bermas tells us why.
Excited shoppers on the streets of Windsor were eager to welcome Prince Harry and Meghan's first child due any day now. Local resident Audrey Stevenson said she was waiting with bated breath as shops adorned their display windows with royal baby memorabilia.
Yeah, just waiting with bated breath and excitement, and I hope to be able to see them sort of staying in Windsor. You know, I hope that they stay here and don't move abroad like some people have alluded to. They may move abroad. I hope they don't. I hope they stay here and local.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan, have kept their plans for the arrival of the new royal private, keeping local residents and tourists alike on the edge of their seats.
We're just waiting patiently. She was 12 days late, so you never know when they're going to come, do you? So.
The royal couple announced in October they were expecting their first child this spring. Meghan also told well-wishers in January she was 6 months pregnant, adding the couple did not know the baby's gender. The baby will be the 7th in line to the British throne. Jovic Bermas, UNTV News and Rescue, London, United Kingdom.
A certain Peter Jomel Advincula introduces himself as the man behind the Ang Totoong Narcolist video series, which alleges those who are close to President Rodrigo Duterte to have links to an illegal drug syndicate. Meanwhile, the Justice Department finds probable cause to indict the Metrobalita.net website creator over the circulation of the Bicoy videos. May Bermudez will tell us why.
Because of threats to his life, the man who claims to be behind the Bicoy series unmasked himself and surfaced before the Integrated Bar of the Philippines or IBP. A certain Peter Jomel Advincula who introduced himself today as alias Bicoy in the video series, seeks the legal assistance of the largest association of legal counsel in the country to be able to file charges against the syndicate members he named in the Ang Totoong Narco list. The video series links members of the Duterte clan and of a certain quadrangle group to an alleged illegal drug matrix.
Kaninong kandidato, lalo na sa mga kandidato ng 8 diretso o anumang political party o political affiliation. Wala din akong kaugnayan sa mga media personalities at institusyon na pinangalanan ni Pangulong Duterte sa kanyang matrix. At hindi ko din po kilala si Rodel Jaime na sinasabing nag-upload ng mga video. At lahat ng mga tao una na nilang pinangalanan.
Advincula also narrated how he worked as a marketing executive in a multi-level marketing business. He said it was in 2010 when he shifted careers and served as a controlman of a CCTV operations and underground facility in Masibis Bay in Albay Province, Bicol. He then transferred to a transmitting and facilitating team.
Nagdesisyong akong lumabas dahil una, mayroong banta sa aking buhay. Ikalawa, tawag ng konsensya. Nakikita ko ang pagwasak ng pamilya na dulot ng droga, na kung saan naging bahagi ako sa pagpapakalat nito noong membro pa ako ng sindikato. Panahon na upang puksain ang pamapayagpag ng sindikato nito.
He claims he scans codes of tattoos of their senior members, such as presidential son Paulo Duterte and former Special Assistant to the President or SAP Bongo. For 6 years, he served jail time over an estafa case and was eventually freed due to his good moral character. But he claims he once again met Sapgo in an event in their company until his office mates warned him to leave due to dangers in his life. He decided to hide August 2018 and finally decided to reveal his knowledge of the alleged drug syndicate. But the Philippine National Police or PNP says they will continue to validate Advincula's identity and will not take his claims at surface level. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara, meanwhile, advises alias Bicoy to go ahead and file his complaint before the National Bureau of Investigation or NBI if he has sufficient evidence against the first family. The man who claims to be behind the Ang Totoong Narco list said he fears nothing and is ready to face Senate probe. Meanwhile, the Justice Department finds probable cause to file charges against Rodel Jaime, the creator of MetroBalita.net, the website behind the proliferation of the Bicoy video series. If proven guilty, Jaime may face 6 to 12 years of imprisonment for inciting to sedition. Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue.
The National Bureau of Investigation has no final say yet on the admission of the website administrator allegedly involved in the Ang Totoong Narcolist videos into the government's witness protection program. Meanwhile, the examination on Jaime's electronic devices continue. April Senadoza explains why.
The National Bureau of Investigation or NBI has stated earlier, there is a possibility that Rodel Jaime, who claimed last week that he is the creator of MetroBalita.net, may become a state witness in the case of the videos circulating online entitled Ang Totoong Narcolist. The 27-year-old webmaster has expressed willingness to drop names and help the government to arrest the person or persons behind the videos linking President Rodrigo Duterte's family and friends into the illegal drug trade. However, the NBI has yet to ensure the admission of Jaime into the Witness Protection Program. According to NBI Cybercrime Division Chief Vic Lorenzo, there are still factors to look into. They also haven't reached a point of officially talking to Jaime about becoming a state witness, Lorenzo added.
Tinitingnan lang natin kasi ano ang mga revelation niya pag umabot tayo doon. Gaano ka-substantial yung mga revelation niya? Kaya niya bang i-substantiate lahat ng sasabihin niya? Aside from his testimony, ano pang mga ebidensya na pwede niyang ibigay para i-support niya yung mga allegation niya?
According to the Department of Justice, an individual can be admitted into the Witness Protection Program if he or she has knowledge or information on the commission of the crime, has testified or is testifying or is willing to testify. A witness in a congressional investigation approved by the Congress. A witness who participated in the commission of a crime and who desires to be a state witness. An accused who was discharged from an information or criminal complaint by the court in order that he may be a state witness. Meanwhile, the forensic examination on Jaime's electronic gadgets is still ongoing.
Hindi pa rin tapos kasi yung investigation eh. Madami kasing cases, ang possible cases na pwedeng i-file sa kanya or dun sa mga taong gumawa ng decoy video.
On the other hand, Jaime may also be disqualified for admission into the program. The applicant will not be admitted if the offense in which his testimony will be used is not a grave felony and is not supported by the evidence presented. If he or any member of his family within the second degree of consanguinity or affinity has not threatened with death or bodily injury, among others. The state witness must not also be a law enforcement officer. However, its immediate members may be admitted in the program. Should Jaime be qualified into the program, he is required to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the government. A witness under the program will receive benefits including housing facility, travel expenses, and subsistence allowance. April Senedoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Department of Agriculture investigates a report that traders are using accredited cooperatives to sell palay to the National Food Authority. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
These pictures were posted by a farmer leader in Central Luzon who has witnessed the alleged selling of palay by traders to the National Food Authority or NFA. The report has prompted Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol to order an investigation on the matter. The traders are allegedly using the names of farmers' cooperatives to have access to the NFA's local procurement. Traders have been reported buying palay at 15 pesos per kilogram and selling it to the NFA at 20 pesos and 70 centavos per kilogram, including incentives. Piñol said that it is the mandate of the NFA to buy palay directly from farmers and not from traders based on the rice tariffication law. The official has ordered the inventory of rice cooperatives to check their legitimacy and if there are NFA personnel or officials involved in the incident.
The President has given a directive that NFA should continue selling at 27 even if the rice that we will be using will already be local rice.
Secretary Piñol assures the public that the 27 pesos per kilogram rice will still be available in the local market even if the imported rice has already been sold out. The NFA already bought 3 million bags of rice from January to April. The agency targets to buy a total of 30 million sacks of rice this year. Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Malacanang supports an investigation into establishments and other businesses that reject Filipino customers and cater only to Chinese nationals. President spokesperson Salvador Panelo says it will talk to Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III and will be asked to begin a probe. The palace also advised Filipinos who encounter such establishments to file a complaint with the Department of Trade and Industry or the local government of the area where the business is located.
Well, we have to investigate that, if that is true. We cannot allow that to happen. They cannot be discriminating against Filipinos.
The administration of President Rodrigo Duterte hits record high satisfaction rating based on the latest social weather station survey. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
Malacanang is pleased with the result of the survey by the Social Weather Stations or SWS. According to the survey taken through face-to-face interviews with 1,440 respondents in various parts of the country from March 28 to 31, 2019, more Filipinos are satisfied with President Rodrigo Duterte's government. Based on the survey, President Duterte got an excellent or 72% net satisfaction rating, in which 81% is composed of Filipinos who are satisfied, 9% are dissatisfied, while 10% are undecided. This is the highest satisfaction rating recorded among administrations since the survey was started in 1989. The rating climbed 6% from the 66% very good satisfaction rating in December 2018. According to presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo, this is the result of the efforts of the Duterte administration. The chief executive got high rating in helping the poor, reconstruction of Marawi City, fight against terrorism, crime and reconciliation with the communist rebels. Some of our fellow Filipinos have various opinions on why the president keeps high satisfaction rating despite different controversies.
Makamasa yung Pangulo. Mas naiintindihan niya kung anong pangangailangan.
Hindi ko po alam kasi sir iba-iba naman ang natin opinion bawat isa eh. Mayroong gusto, mayroong hindi. Basta sa akin, hindi ko siya type.
Maganda naman yung pinakita niya sa ginagawa sa ating gobyerno
For Secretary Panelo, the result of the survey is a hard slap on the face of the opposition and the detractors of the president. Panelo appeals to those who oppose the chief executive to wake up from their stupor and instead of unleashing negative forces against the government, they should contribute to the building of the nation. Rosa Licoz, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
Malacanang insists President Rodrigo Duterte worked from his home in Davao City during the 5 days that he had no public engagement. This is the response of the palace to those who are criticizing the picture of President Duterte watching movies in Netflix while resting at home. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says the president wanted to focus on paperwork that he was not able to attend to after his China trip.
Ganyan siguro nangyari kay Presidente sa dami ng mga papeles na dapat niyang binasa, may pirmahan, natambakan. Kaya he decided to stay in the house and work on them.
Panelo also said the picture was released to the public to refute claims about the president's health condition. Last night, the public was able to see the president when he visited the wake of former House Speaker Prospero Nograles, while today the president is in the palace for his cabinet meeting. The first ever Filipino-made hybrid electric train by the Department of Science and Technology begins its validation test run along the tracks of the Philippine National Railways. Joanano tells us why.
To provide additional train set that will service thousands of passengers of the Philippine National Railways or PNR, the first Philippine hybrid electric train by the engineers of the Department of Science and Technology or DOST begins its operation along the PNR tracks earlier today. This is part of the 150 hours validation test run. Passengers can ride the Filipino-made train for free until May 23. The hybrid electric train runs through the use of battery and a generator.
It has two power source. So sa pagiging hybrid niya, nagiging more energy efficient siya and environment friendly. Kasi po nagiging less yung fuel consumption natin and yung kanyang gas emission is less than kaya environment friendly siya.
Lisa Pertumen, who rides the PNR daily, is among those passengers who will benefit once the hybrid train will pass its validation test. Lisa prefers to ride a PNR from her home in Laguna going to her work in Muntinlupa because she only spends 20 pesos for fare, which is cheaper than 200 pesos if she will take a van.
Ang PNR kasi mura, wala pa traffic.
The hybrid electric train has 5 coaches that is fully air-conditioned and has CCTV cameras. But the 5th coach is only designated for the storage of the train's generator and batteries and not to service passengers. It can run at a speed of 60 to 80 km per hour. The glasses on windows and doors are made out of polycarbonate materials that can't be easily broken. It can service around 700 to 800 passengers per trip. It took 5 years in the making for the DOST to finish the hybrid electric train that cost around 120 million pesos. As of now, the said train is operating from Calamba to Laguna stations only. If it will pass the validation test run, the PNR will use it in the revenue operations that will probably start by June.
Makakadagdag siya sa aming magagamit kahit dahil as of now, medyo limited yung aming number of train sets dahil yung aming ina-expect na mga brand new trains ay dadating pa lang before the end of June.
The PNR management has yet to decide as to the fare matrix of the newly hybrid electric train. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Laguna.
A Facebook dating app called Secret Crush can now be used in the Philippines. But an expert warns those who want to use the mobile application. Monokson tells us why.
Are you the shy type? Or one who doesn't have the courage to tell someone that you like them? There might be an answer to your problem now. Facebook has been allegedly involved in selling information of Facebook users to other companies. But Mark Zuckerberg has gifted his loyal users the Secret Crush dating app. Through the app, you can list down the names of your secret crush. You can choose up to 9 Facebook accounts of those who you have a crush on. The developer explained that the app was created to help people with anxiety.
Women have some anxiety about meeting people who do not know before. So in terms of that case, the Facebook has friends and they will show mutual friends, so it can be relieve their anxiety.
All of the app users' information will be hidden, and even those listed as your crush will not know about it unless they also use the app, according to Facebook. Your crush will be notified only when you are also on their list of crushes. According to Facebook, this can be considered as a match when it happens. But an expert warns those who are enticed into using such dating app. Dr. Sheila Viesca, a Filipino psychologist, said that using the app may have negative effects on the feelings of a person, especially those who are serious at finding a partner.
If you're doing it for fun, and hindi mo naman masyadong pepersonalin, hindi ka madedepress. Dahil hindi nag-click back sa'yo, okay lang. Pero, isipin mo rin, while you're doing it for fun, other people are doing it to find the love of their life. Diba? Iba-ibang intention. Or you're so serious in your intent to meet the right person.
Tas yung kabila
naman, nagjo-joke time lang.
For Dr. Viesca, meeting and knowing an individual personally is more important.
Kasi yung point of connection, hindi mo yan makukuha sa pagkiklik-click lang. It's so beautiful to start a relationship on the grounds of likability based on how you know the person for the quality of his being. Not only because, ay, nakilala ko to, maganda yung profile. Kasi hindi ka rin naman makakaasa that everything on the profile of that person is true. Magiging deluded ka pa, and then it turned out to be the opposite. It can be a cause of rift down the road.
Dr. Viesca added that a person must not rely on such apps when it comes to building a serious relationship. Facebook's Secret Crush app is available in some countries in Asia and Europe, but is not yet launched in the United States where the app originated. Mon Hokson, UNTV, News and Rescue.
COMELEC cancels the Certificate of Candidacy or COC filed by actor Edu Manzano, who is running as a representative of San Juan City. The Commission on Elections or COMELEC Second Division issued a ruling stating that Manzano is not a Filipino citizen and failed to reacquire his Philippine citizenship after serving the United States Armed Forces back then. Thus, according to COMELEC, he is ineligible to run for membership of the House of Representatives for the Lone District of San Juan City. And for the news abroad, 41 people on board a Russian Aeroflot passenger plane were killed after the aircraft caught fire as it made a bumpy emergency landing at a Moscow airport. Jovic Burmas will tell us why.
41 people were killed after a Russian plane made an emergency landing and burst into flames at Sheremetyevo Airport in Moscow. Videos on social media show passengers using emergency exit slides to escape the burning Aeroflot aircraft. 2 children and a flight attendant were among the dead.
5 человек доставлены в медицинские учреждения.
Out of 78 people who were on board of the aircraft, there are 37 survivors, 33 passengers and 4 members of the crew.
5 people are in hospital. Aeroflot, Russia's national carrier, said the plane was forced to return to the airport for technical reasons but did not elaborate. Some flights have been diverted to other airports. The aircraft, a Sukhoi Superjet -100, departed Sheremetyevo Airport for the city of Murmansk. The crew issued a distress signal when malfunctions occurred shortly after departure. After making an emergency landing at the airport, the plane's engines caught fire on the runway, Aeroflot said in a statement. Aeroflot published a list of survivors who have been identified so far, adding that it will continue to be updated as new information comes to light. The investigative committee said it had opened an investigation and was looking into whether the pilots had breached air safety rules. Some passengers blamed bad weather and lightning. President Vladimir Putin and Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev expressed their condolences and ordered investigators to establish what had happened. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue, Europe.
Meanwhile, a landing feature was inoperative on a passenger plane that slid off a runway in the U.S. state of Florida on Friday, investigators have said. The Boeing 737 operated by Miami Air International ended up in a river after landing during a thunderstorm. Officials said 21 people were taken to the hospital with minor injuries and at least 4 pets kept in the hold had died. They are now looking into the failure of the thrust reverser as well as a request by the pilot to change runways. The flight, which had flown from Guantanamo Bay in Cuba to a military base in the city of Jacksonville, is said to have landed heavily in the storm before skidding into St. Johns River. The 136 passengers and 7 crew members on board evacuated the Boeing 737-800 via its wings. The death toll is mounting after 3 days of cross-border violence between Israel and militants on the Gaza Strip. Nina Armilio will tell us why.
Rockets and missiles from Gaza killed 4 civilians in Israel, while Israeli airstrikes killed 19 Palestinians, more than half of them civilians, in surging cross-border fighting on Sunday, according to Gazan officials and the Israeli military. Israel's military said that more than 600 rockets and other projectiles, over 150 of them intercepted by its Iron Dome anti-missile system, have been fired at southern Israeli cities and villages since Friday. It said it attacked more than 260 targets belonging to Gaza militant groups.
We have deployed an armored brigade to the Gaza Strip with the specific purpose of conducting offensive operations, not there to enhance the defense, but to conduct offensive operations should they be needed. We have the adequate firepower at our disposal.
Gaza officials, meanwhile, said Israeli airstrikes and artillery fire killed 27 people, including 14 civilians, since Friday. Parts of the international community, including the United Nations, have called for calm. Palestinian officials said a ceasefire agreement has been reached with Israel. There was no confirmation from the Israeli side. On Sunday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he had ordered the military to continue its massive strikes on terror elements in Gaza. Netanyahu says the country's forces around the Strip would be stepped up with tank, artillery, and infantry forces. Israel also closed all schools within 40 kilometers of the Gaza Strip and opened some shelters to the public. Nina Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue.
U.S. President Donald Trump dramatically increased pressure on China to reach a long-sought trade deal by announcing he will markedly raise U.S. tariffs on certain Chinese goods. Mirasol Abogadil explains why.
U.S. President Donald Trump has said he will raise tariffs on $200 billion of Chinese goods because talks on a U.S.-China trade deal are moving too slowly. Trump had previously delayed the tariff increases earlier in the year, citing productive talks with China. Sunday's announcement casts into doubt previous expectations that China and the United States were closing in on a deal to end the months-long trade war that has slowed global growth and disrupted markets. Trump said on Twitter that the tariffs will increase to 25% on Friday and that more Chinese goods will face additional tariffs. U.S.-China trade talks are due to resume this week with Chinese Vice Premier Liu Hedu to travel to Washington. That follows talks in April in Beijing that Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin called productive. As recently as Friday, Trump said talks with China was going well. Last week, industry sources said they believed the talks were in the endgame, and Mnuchin had said he hoped that the U.S. negotiating team would soon be able to recommend a deal to Trump or tell him that one could not be reached. The administration has been insisting on a mechanism to ensure that China follows through on any promises to purchase more American goods. Administration officials have said both sides are expected to launch new enforcement staffs to police the agreement. Mirasol Abugadil, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Rocket Lab successfully launched 3 experimental satellites for the U.S. Air Force on Sunday. The Electron booster lifted off from the world's only private orbital launch pad on the Mahia Peninsula, New Zealand. It was the 6th flight for the Rocket Lab Electron rocket and, according to the company, is the heaviest launch to date, weighing at least more than 180 kilograms. If everything goes according to plan, Electrons will soon fly more frequently. Rocket Lab, a Silicon Valley-funded rocket propulsion company, aims to launch a dozen missions this year, Rocket Lab CEO Peter Beck said. The cheapest and most entertaining ways to experience the thrills and adrenaline rush of grassroots motorsport has finally begun in Sussex. Asher Kadapan Jr. will tell us why.
For some dedicated petrol heads, the wait was finally over as the British Lawnmower Racing Championships commenced. The cutting-edge sport took place on a large grassy racetrack in the village of Billinghurst in West Sussex. There are 4 race categories depending on the type of lawnmower, ranging from roller-driven mowers with seats to wheel-driven varieties. For safety reasons, the mower blades are removed for racing, but the engine is retained. According to the British Lawn Mower Racing Association, lawn mower racing began in 1973. Defending British champion for Group 3, Dean Fuller, thinks the continued appeal of the sport is rooted in the camaraderie of the racing community.
I think people keep coming back. It's one big family. Everybody's here to help each other. You know, it's really close racing and it's affordable, which makes it probably the most appealing thing for most people.
The sports retains the same objectives as when it began today, with no sponsorships, commercialization, or cash prizes allowed. The British Championship takes place from May to October. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue.
Two emerging young musicians are fast becoming singing sensations in Nigeria after being discovered on a local talent show. Abby Valdez will tell us why.
17-year-old Dixon Adire, whose stage name is AOT, is best known for his music single Legwork, which has been playing on airwaves lately and is also available on major online music stores. The Aerobeat song is typically performed while doing the Senku, a dance step that went viral in Nigeria in 2017. The two artists, who both grew up in a teeming shanty town in Nigeria's central Benue state, are building solo careers, but occasionally create music together with friends.
On Monday, go to the studio on Friday. I'm the best, I hope you know this. These gotta be days of the week, days of the week, days of the weekend.
I feel very happy. It feels like a dream come true. Thank God for everything. My music is being heard almost every radio station in Nigeria, and I'm very happy. It's like a dream come true. Thank God.
On the other hand, 14-year-old James Namani lost his father in 2015 and lives in a two-room house with his mother, siblings, and grandmother.
Everybody go like Yamata, eh. They go like Yamata, eh. I've always loved music. I started music at the age of 10. I used my mommy's spoon. I played instrumentals and I rap to it. Sometimes I sing to it. And I always go for competition at the age of 10, 11, 12, and 13. But I got my breakthrough at the age of 14.
Nigerian filmmaker and producer Pascal Atuma is working to help the boys build their brands. He decided to start his label Tabik Records to help nurture talent in poor communities where youth hardly get opportunities to thrive. After watching Namani and Adira take part on local talent show Utorpu Got Talent in 2017.
I saw that these two kids were so talented and I couldn't pass on them, so I decided because of them to launch a record label to help the less privileged and those in the community, in the society, in Nigeria and all the rest of Africa.
Much like the famous Nollywood film industry, music is now big business in Africa's most populous nation. Abby Valdez, UNTV News and Rescue.
For all sky gazers out there, you might catch a sight of shooting stars starting tonight until Tuesday dawn. According to the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAGASA, the ETA Aquarid meteor shower occurs each year as a result of the Earth's passing close to the orbit of Halley's Comet twice a year. It will be most visible near the constellation Aquarius, especially during a clear night sky. Pagasa noted that the radiance of the meteor shower will virtually lie on the celestial equator and is more favorable to southern hemisphere viewers. It is said in the northern hemisphere about 20 or more meteors per hour at the pre-dawn sky may be seen. And those are the reasons behind the news this May 6, 2019. On behalf of Nina Villamor Camara and Angelo Castro III, I am William Theo, and before we close, we will recap with today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
May mga politiko pong nakalagay po lang to sa t-shirt. Ang nasa t-shirt po ay t-shirt po ni Remulla at ni Revilla.
Naklaruin ko lang, no? Allowance yun para sa watchers training namin for the next 3 days. Kasi kaming may elections, di ba? If you examine the facts of the case, wala pong sample ballot.
Vote buying under the Omnibus Election Code is an election offense. And if there are public officials na nandun and found to be found guilty, they will be perpetually disqualified to hold any public office.
Nagdesisyon akong lumabas dahil una, mayroong pantak sa aking buhay. Ikalawa, tawag ng konsensiyo. Nakikita ko ang pagwasak ng pamilya na dulot ng droga, na kung saan naging bahagi ako sa pagpapakalat nito noong miyembro pa ako ng sindikato. Panahon na upang buksain ang pumapayagpag ng sindikato nito.
Hindi pa rin tapos kasi yung investigation eh. Madami kasing cases, ang possible cases na pwedeng i-file sa kanya or dun sa mga taong gumawa ng decoy video.
Sa yung point of connection, hindi mo yan makukuha sa pagkiklik-click lang. It's so beautiful to start a relationship on the grounds of likability based on how you know the person for the quality of his being. Not only because, ay, nakilala ko to, maganda yung profile,